what's new right now as far as anime? Like, what's
I was just watching the Demon Slayer movie. I didn't get to watch that shit yet. I was trying to watch that. That shit's mad long. I had to cut off on it and come here and all that.
That's cool.
No, but that's the newest shit that I'm on right now, on that mode. But I mean, I'm pretty much up on.
I'm
on
glad
certain
you
shit.
used Demon Slayer as example, right?
So what's so special about this particular?
The manga, aka the book, the source material, has already ended, and the anime series is actually coming closer towards the end than anime only people know. So what happens is, as I say, these stories come to an end. There be so many of them. This is why they can crank out new shows, because this is over with. Here, get this, digest this. So you being a fan of one form of the media, sometimes you play catch up. Sometimes right there, spot on. There's this anime called Kaiju Number 8. I literally jumped on that 5 years ago when it came out in 2020. The book, the manga, is completely done. So to read somebody like, oh, I know what's going to happen here. Oh, I like how they did this. This is the thing that these kids are watching. They're reading and seeing.
I think there's just people want to see what's on the books. You know what I mean? It's come to life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So regardless of the fact, you know what I mean? I feel the comic book still comes into play. You know what I mean? I still want to see that. Like, let's say if you read Lord of the Rings and then you get to see that, you got to see the movie. You like, oh shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Harry Potter, any one of them joints, especially if they're in true essence of the storyline. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my god, this shit crack right here. I'm watching. This one of my shits, like, you know what I mean? And it just, like I said, go hand in hand. And then sometimes if you don't want to, it goes. If you don't want to read, you can watch. If you don't want to watch, you can read. You know what I mean? To an extent. You know what I mean?
I'm more of a visual person sometimes.
I'm very visual
with the storyline, so that's why it's different. It's different with somebody who
I'm very visual.
Who's been reading the comic books all their lives, so they have an affinity for the storyline, the character already. Some of these characters, I'll be honest with you, I honestly fell in love with them through the visuals of them. So, like, I'm guilty of that with Batman. Like you said, I was a fan of the Adam West version of him with what they had going on over there with that, and the Lou Ferrigno version of the Hulk, and the Bionic. What was the Bionic? What was
Bionic Man, Bionic Woman, yeah.
Yeah. So I was all of those reiterations and things of that nature. Like that's actually what captivated me towards gaining interest towards the characters. Like, you know what I mean?
And just slightly touching back and actually staying forward, right? Because you mentioned the Bionic Man. One of the reasons why the Bionic 6 was a great hit out the gate, a lot of the fan base of the Bionic Man and the Bionic Woman thought this was an animated version of that, because they started, looking like a family and whatnot. And then it was like, oh, nah, this is something different. Well, damn, they got a badass theme song.
Bionic 6.
Representation across the entire team. You literally had black, white, Puerto Rican, Asian.
Yes. Karate 1. Who you think he was?
And what ended up happening, right, again, when we jump it back to the present, people look at the legacy companies and what they did, how long it got for them to get to where they're at, right? And then when you think of where Marvel and DC at, they're their own entity, but they're owned by a bigger conglomerate property. Warner Brothers owns DC Comics, period, end of story. That's just a brand under their umbrella. They've owned DC since the 80s, if not the late 70s, right?
So that's still a relatively recent purchase then as far as business goes?
Yes, and you can say 40 years.
Okay.
Now, Marvel and Disney, we all know, everybody's seen that. That was a big deal because they went on and acquired a whole nother freaking studio and conglomerate just in the interest of being able to get Marvel's property to be more canonized, to play with their X-Men, if you will, to play with their Fantastic Four, if you will, to make these properties be able to do whatever they want, however they want, instead of like, okay, Sony, come on now, you know what I'm saying? So again, they're still trying to grow, and everybody who is still coming up is looking at, don't do this. Is it worth the capital? Maybe we can give them fractions of our capital, how each one of them initially did, right?
But does the AI situation, which is something we're going to segue into, does that almost force the distributor to give you guys what you need to make the vision, because you're competing against so much visually, like the video game itself damn near is comparable to the
Illuminati's going to
movie.
get mad at me when I talk about how AI is going to, mess up business. But, all right, so,
Here we go.
what's going to end up happening is a major flop and failure, right? They're doing samples out there. You got to put things out there and blend it in with what we're used to. So this way, they won't know the difference. Like,
You're ready, bro.
like that scene was AI. Oh, that whole episode was AI. Everything else, we did it old school. And then you were like, well, damn, it's so good, I didn't notice the difference. That's the aha, gotcha. So they got to keep on doing that to get people's eyes trained/untrained for the errors that AI will produce in video, right? Because we see it in artwork and everything, the way it fluctuates. The fluctuation is literally a straight signature. It's almost like their DNA. Oh, that's AI. You see how it fluctuates, movements and stuff. And look, it's not saying it's not clean, but there's this aura about these things that requires an actual graphic editor to edit that stuff out.
So, you as an artist, you can notice those particulars, but I think where the business aspect of it comes into play is how it helps people who don't quite have that trained eye get that vision in motion. So I ask you, is AI a threat to the comic book world coming forward? Because
it's a threat to those who have this anchor of tradition. I am a traditional artist.
So would you refrain from using AI?
At the moment, there is no AI used for any of my comic book projects.
So that's a no?
That is not enough. And I'm going to explain why.
Okay.
In the future, which is any second that just passed. See what I did there? If you do not transition your business to the time, age, and era, you are in critical error of losing everything. And if you did not, and I'm talking about everybody on this freaking dirty rock floating in space, if you did not learn that lesson from the world 5 years ago, 2020, then you were never paying attention to anything in life except what you want. You'll never know how to get it. You're going to always want. You can hit the lotto. You're going to always want more. You can have all the food. You're going to always be starving. You want it. Or you can have all the girls. You're going to always want love.
Now you see, now to that point right there. Now what do you say? Now what do you say? I don't mean to be facetious. Now what do you say to those people who say, well, look at the benefits of it? Like you said, there's situations to where AI has benefited the food industry, and now you're able to produce food in masses, and there's certain places where certain things will be in famine. Like, as far as medicine, let's be honest, you know what I mean? There's a lot.
That's why they made
Most
AI.
of your doctors and your future physicians and dentists right now
I'm gonna keep
are
this
being aided
100.
by.
This is why they made AI to do that, though.
To
But
aid,
sometimes
right?
I just think that it might oversee.
Intelligence?
It might oversee us to where it might, we get the movies, Lord. Lord, it's not really too far off. You know what I mean? If we underestimate the AI and oversees us, it could definitely be damaging to us. But if we continue, I feel like to monitor it the way that it should be, you know what I mean? It's supposed to be a helpful to us. You know what I mean? A great help. You know what I mean? So it can definitely still be a good part of society. You know what I mean? Society
Benefits.
with the right people controlling it.
Liabilities. That's a key point right there.
And I agree 100% exactly the way you said it. And I'm going to tag on the Kurzweil theory with that.
Please.
The singularity theory. But before, right, I do hope some artists get offended,
Okay, yeah.
right? Because again, I'm a traditional artist.
Old school.
Literally had to draw my panels, draw the letters, or so they write the letters, but had to do it in a specific style, in the word bubbles and stuff like that, and comics, and the layers of how to color and all of that.
Yo, but T, you know they go say, yo, fuck all that shit though, man.
That's
All I
fine.
do is just check GBT.
So
See, that's that
what ended up
fucked up bullshit,
happening when digital art started expanding, started having these software applications where now not only can you color, right, you can draw, and they made it so easy, such as Photoshop and